Imagine for a second that I was a brand new e-commerce founder, just launched my Shopify store, and I'm trying to think about what product should I sell. Maybe I've got a niche in mind. Maybe I've got an idea of the type of product that I want to sell. In that case, what I would usually do is I'd jump over onto ChatGPT or Claude or something, and I would type something like, "Hey, can you help me validate that my new e-commerce product is going to sell? I am planning to sell, let's do a high-vis cat collars that glow in the dark. I think this is the best new product ever." Okay. You'd probably do something like that, right? I'm looking at this type of product. I've done my research. This is what I'm passionate about. Let's have a look at what GPT does. So generally what this is going to do, it's going to go and it's going to search the internet, right? And it's going to try and come back to you with e-commerce knowledge, right? So what we go, I'll treat this like a product validation pass, not a hype check. Okay, so this is going out to the internet and it's going to give us some feedback. So what are you saying? Yes, I'll validate it with a lot less excitement and a lot more suspicion. Okay, so it's already tempering my results. First pass, high-vis glow-in-the-dark cat collars are not a bad product idea, but they are not a new product category. The market already exists, so maybe that's pretty good. That means the question is not, will anyone buy this? The question is, can you create a sharper angle, better proof, better design, or better bundle than existing options? That's some good first advice. So it's giving me some caution. Now, what else is it giving me here? So it's giving me a 6.5 out of 10, put me in the pet safety category. Potential is real, but only if we've got that branding differentiation. And biggest risk, it becomes a cheap commodity collar competing with Amazon, eBay, Temu, exactly. So it's actually giving us some pretty good information up front here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this same prompt and I'm going to drop this into a custom e-commerce focused AI platform, which we call our command center. And I'm going to run this niche and product OS chat. So this is a custom prompt built on 25 plus years of e-commerce know-how. This is Paul Warren's brain in a computer. So this is going to be a strategic co-pilot. It's going to guide me through the same question. So interested to see what type of result we get from here. So we've got some caution over on GPT. So it's giving us the idea that these already exist. It's giving us some example brands. So for someone that's just getting started, it's giving us some things to go and look at. We could do some competitive analysis. Gives us some idea of why it could sell. It's a real problem. Cat owners want visibility in the dark, all that kind of thing. So it's kind of validating what we want to do. Right, so it must be a breakaway. So it's even giving us some sort of feature recommendations, which are pretty good. But it's really got to be differentiated. So again, if we're not a brand specialist, if we're just going to go buy product, it's giving us the kind of caveat that we really need to be clear on that sort of winning angle, that brand differentiation. And it's giving us some ideas, right? It could be the black cat finder, right? So you're just targeting down and niching down to black cats who disappear in shadows. That's kind of cool. Backyard safety collar. So if your cat's an outdoor cat, the curfew collar. So it's basically giving us some niche angles, right? So it's really getting us to niche down and focus on different angles. So it's actually a pretty good result. It's giving us some, even a bit of a test. Run some ads to sort of validate the market, see if people are willing to buy, see if people like it, get some feedback from real customers, something to sort samples and then test whether it whether fur blocks the visibility. So it's actually giving us a pretty decent outcome here. But let's test that against our e-commerce brain. So I'm going to put the same prompt. So this is the same prompt that we put in to our generic AI. So we're going to see what comes back from our ecom focused AI. So the first thing that it's done that is different is it actually asks us a question. It hasn't made assumptions. It hasn't assumed where we're at in the process. So it's actually automatically come back with questions. So usually in GPT, you would have to prompt it, right? You'd have to prompt the chat to say, please come back and ask me questions. Whereas this system is built to stop you and prompt you and ask you questions as we're going. So let's have a look. Are we building from zero and finding a new niche, or are we auditing an existing business? So we're building from zero. So we'll put that in. We are building from zero and finding a new niche. So again, it's going off and thinking. Okay, so now it's confirming. So this is now running a full 8-point diagnostic that's rigorously going to validate the idea. So step 1, existing spend. Show me the proof that people are already spending money here. I need to see links to active Facebook groups or online communities for cat owners discussing the safety, YouTube review channels, existing brands, advertising or selling glow in the dark or high vis, right? And then, so it's actually asking me to go and get the proof. Whereas what happened with GPT is it did spit back some competitors, right? But it didn't ask us what we knew about it, right? So this AI is feeding us back things without us necessarily understanding these things ourselves, right? So that is an important distinction here. So these may or may not be right. I'm sure there are Amazon listings, there are eBay listings. But if you're an ecom founder and you're trying to build a business, you want to know this stuff already, not have it assumed by AI that you know this stuff, and then you read this and you go, well, these must be the biggest competitor in the market. If you've never looked at this brand, they might be a competitor. They might be slightly different. They might be in a real niche that's different to yours. So they might be differentiated in a different way, right? So this is one thing with generic AI, even though it's giving us a pretty good answer, it's assumed a lot of things. It's gone off and done the research, right? So let's try this. Let's take our examples from here and we'll go, yes, I have, obviously I haven't done this, so we're just going to force this. Yes, I have already validated the market. There are existing brands like Rogs, Amazon listings, da 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 da. So obviously it's asked me for screenshots, right? It wants proof. So you're going to actually have to go and validate this and do some of the work yourself, which is an important part of building the business. Because if you're going to build this business, you really need to understand the territory. You need to understand the competitors. You need to have gone through their entire websites, their pricing structures, their differentiation strategy, their branding strategy, their social strategy, and really understanding what they're doing so that you can differentiate. So what have we got? For existing spend, here's what we've established. There are established brands. These products are listed. At least one brand does reflective stitching and breakaway buckles. Okay, is accurate. We'll go, yes, that's accurate. But obviously, the more I can feed into this, and this is just giving us one brand as well, right? So that's also the other problem here with this generic AI. It's given us an example of one brand, and then it's just said Amazon, eBay, Etsy, Australian pet retailers, which is probably true. But what are those brands? What are the names of those brands? What are they doing? How many are there? Right. So again, because this has made an assumption, we as the business owner don't really understand this. So if I just continued taking this as verbatim and go, well, clearly, ChatGPT understands the market better than I do as a human business owner, I could get quite lost. As nice as all of this stuff really sounds, it's basing it on assumptions that I haven't made as the business owner. And that's more important than you might think. So let's just go, yes, that's accurate. So it's going to score that section. So you can see here, this is really stop-gapping me as I go. It's asking me one question at a time. It's making sure that I, as the business owner, know what the hell I'm talking about. Because again, if I'm going to go to market and I'm going to launch this cat collar business, I probably have to have experience with cats. I need a story to tell about I had a black cat and I could never see him at night in the backyard and he got lost 17 times and I had to pay the pound. He almost got put down one time because the pound caught him and almost got run over, right? So if I've got those stories and that's the reason I'm starting this brand, that's super beneficial because I've understanding why the product needs to exist. I haven't just gone and picked a category, put it into ChatGPT and gone, well, GPT says it's a good idea, so I'll just run with it. This is going to kind of stopgap me and ask me questions along the way. So step 2, identity strength. Is this a purchase that reinforces an identity? So you can see we're immediately also going deeper into the psychology of why someone would buy this, right? GPT kind of went into, you might have a cat, you've got a black cat, a white cat, a backyard cat. There's some identity stuff in here. But again, because this is built on proper e-commerce brains who understand why people buy products, we're going really deep into how does this reinforce an identity, right? So you can see the types of questions here. Do buyers see themselves as something specific? So am I a devoted cat parent? Am I a worried cat parent? Am I a pet safety advocate? What's that emotion that I'm feeling that's going to make me trigger to buy this product? Is it fear? Is it love? Is it guilt? Is it safety? Right? What are those emotional triggers? Because that's the thing that's going to make my potential customers buy this thing. So we want to go into what does the customer believe about themselves? So let's just put something in here. Customers see themselves as concerned and caring cat parents. Excuse my typing. It'll forgive me for typing like crap. Okay, we are concerned cat parents. Is it part of who they are? Just a functional price-driven purchase? Most of them identify as cat parents. They love their cats more than most people, right? So maybe that's the person we're going after. Is that maybe it's a couple that maybe couldn't have kids, right? They're the type of person that loves animals more than loves kids and loves to share that type of meme and talk about. They just love. They identify as maybe like the crazy cat lady, crazy cat dad, that kind of stuff, right? So this is like a fully devoted, absolutely loves cat person. They'll wear a cat t-shirt. They'll wear cat accoutrements and jewelry and all that kind of stuff. So it's definitely part of who they are. So give me examples of how this product is talked about socially. They share cat memes with their friends. So this is like the stuff I was just saying, right? Cat friend with their friends. They follow funny cat video pages and channels on social. They talk about their cats all day, every day. They might even have, let's say they've got like a devoted cat social channel for their pet. Right, so we're kind of giving some ideas about who this person is. So you see the difference here again. GPT didn't ask us any of this stuff. It didn't ask us anything about why we're trying to sell, who we're trying to sell to. It made a lot of assumptions. Okay, so let's feed that information in. Again, as you can tell, I'm clearly making this up, but this is the type of level of detail that if this was your business, this is the level of detail you would want to be able to go into as the founder, not just type in a prompt, get something that comes back like this looks pretty good. Right, let's be honest, most people would read this and go, oh, it's validated and it's given me all this stuff and it's given me all this stuff. It's giving me meta options. It's told me how to do a wait list and pre-order and test it in Facebook groups and da. Like you could probably follow this plan and you might get somewhere. But, the idea is that this is giving you some pretty generic stuff. Whereas now we're already going deep into our target audience as well as why we want to sell this product. So we've established cat brands. Yes, that is accurate. Okay, so it's kind of playing back to me what I've written as well, just to make sure that I've captured everything. So you say that's accurate. Now we're going to go into step 3. So it's taking all that information. So based on my confirmation, so AOV potential. So again, GPT didn't ask us anything about price. It didn't give us pricing strategy, hasn't given us any thinking about, right? So, as much as this is, we've got a good identity strength, because we kind of wrote it to cheat it right, but AOV potential, average order value potential. So how much can I sell this thing for? Show me competitor pricing, your plan pricing, any ideas for engineered bundles, right? So again, let's just go most brands sell these for, I don't know, $125. I will also sell around that same price. So we're going to be price competitive, right? So it's not a cheap product. It's going to sit on the market, the same as others. And again, it's asking me for validation and proof of this. So it wants screenshots, it wants links, it wants my price points, it wants bundles. I will also do bundles for multi-cat homes, right? So a buy one, get one style bundles, right? Something like that. So maybe that's how we can differentiate, is to have some buy one, get one. If you've got 4 cats, you get buy the first one, get 3 for half price, multi-cat home bundles, something like that. But again, the more information I can put into this, the more information it's going to give me back. Okay, most brands sell for $125. I'm going to match the price. And then, yes, that is accurate. Yes, accurate. Cool. So the main difference here is that it's stopping me and it's making me think, and it's asking me questions rather than just giving me a bunch of answers. Like, as we said, this is the problem with generic chat, whether it's ChatGPT or Claude or Manus. It's, even though that didn't agree with us 100%, it ultimately assumed that we really wanted to sell this thing, and it just gave us a plan without asking about how much we wanted to sell it for, really how much we understood the competitor land space. Were we drop shipping it? Were we selling it ourselves? Were we manufacturing it? Where were we getting it from? What's our cost? All of this stuff, right? Which is what we're going into now. So what's it actually going to cost us? If I can sell it for $125, but each unit costs me $50 to manufacture, and then I've only got that $75 left over for marketing, that's a pretty quick way to go broke pretty fast, right? So what's my margin potential? So we want minimum 60%. So again, this is something that GPT didn't ask us. It didn't assume, it didn't ask about price validation, didn't ask us about margin potential. So again, let's go, yes, I can get 60% margin. Now, obviously, I'm just doing this fast to get this video out and make a point, but you would spend time in here, right? So it's asking you for landed price. So you can see how specific to ecom is, right? It's asking me to show estimated landed cost per unit, manufacturing, shipping to you, packaging, payment processing, all your variable costs, is planned selling price. And it says, do not guess, give me the real numbers. So this is prompting you with the right questions. And because it's built on an e-commerce brain with 25 plus years experience, it knows the questions to ask you to help you validate this product idea versus making assumptions and just going, here's the name of it, run some ads, start a Facebook group. You could go and do that, but that's a really quick way to go broke fast because you haven't validated to this level of detail, right? So again, let's assume we can get 60% margin. To score this rigorously, I need the best estimate of the true landed cost per collar. Let's go landed cost per unit. Let's assume I could get him in for $25. Maybe I've got a really good manufacturer. I can get him in for $25 landed. Okay, so 80% margin, good. Again, this may or may not be accurate in real life, but for the purposes of this example. But so this is also going to catch me if I go, well, I'm going to sell it for $80 and it's costing me $60 landed. This will go, well, that's about a 10% or 5% margin, that's not going to be a very good product. So then I'm going to have to go back and negotiate with my suppliers or raise my prices. Again, go back and do market research. So it's going to stop you from making bad decisions. Okay, so we've got 5 out of 5 because we got basically $100 on every unit, which means I've got money left over for my salary costs, my marketing costs. I can actually sell this thing at volume and still make margin on it. And then upgrade ecosystem. So this is going to lifetime value. What else can I sell? Do cat owners typically buy new collars regularly? Right, so let's assume that if I sell this thing, I'm only ever going to sell one unit because it's so good that it lasts the entire lifetime of a cat. Do I have any other things? Do I have upsells? Do I have consumables, accessories? I go, yes, I also have cute, customizable bells and name tags that go on the collars. These are, I don't know, $15 each. For example, right? Could maybe, again, we've got the bundle idea, but maybe it's different bells, or that could be a thing, right? Or we've got other products. Maybe we've got little jackets, or we've got boots, or we've got hats, or other stuff that cats need. Right, so be thorough. Cat owners can purchase customizable bells. There's add-ons. Yep. So we've got a bit of a product ladder. Let's go. Yes, that is accurate. So again, it's now also making me think about lifetime value. So once I've sold this collar, what else can I then sell the person next month, in 3 months, in 6 months, in 12 months? And GPT gave us none of that and just said, go start marketing, build a Facebook group, go do the thing. Like, yes, it's a good idea. Go buy it, test it. Whereas this is going to stop that happening if the product's bad, if I can't get it for a good price, if it's too saturated, if I can't sell it for the right price, if I don't have accessories that can extend lifetime value, this is going to catch that. And that's the big difference between these systems. So we're going to say, yes, that is accurate. I've got that lifetime value. I've got some accessories. And again, I might have leashes, other things like that, right, that I could add on. Maybe there's adventure collars and home collars. And then for the adventure leashes, there's little booties that keep their paws dry. And there's swimming jackets so they can swim in the ocean. And there's long leashes so they can go off leash on adventure walks, if that was my niche, right? So step 6, we're getting there. Content depth. I'm going to power through these next few steps just so you don't have to watch the entire process, but you get the idea. I can realistically, yes, I can generate 200 pieces of content a month. Yep. Okay, so we got to the end and we've got our recommendation publishing out here. So you can see how thorough this is. We scroll back up here a bit. It's ranked everything that we went for. So it's given us a scorecard based on all those answers we went through. So scored out of 5, existing spend. So 4, identity, 5, 3 for AOV potential, 5 for margin, 4 for the ecosystem, 5 for content depth, which was how much content we could produce. Defensibility was around it being a branded ecosystem, having some bundles that we could upsell for lifetime value. And logistics simplicity, it's easy to ship, it's small, fits in a small Oz Post bundle. So this has actually given us a viability score of 34 out of 40, right? So we got a 6 out of 10 or something from GPT, but it didn't go into margin, didn't go into upgrade, didn't go into content depth, defensibility, AOV potential, identity strength. It didn't score any of these things. You see, now that we've done this, we've got a much more rigorous and defensible thing that we could go to and say, here's our business plan. This is now a defensible business plan. Right, so the verdict is to pursue. This is a scalable asset. Fundamentals are strong, excellent margins. So now that we've put that work in, if this was terrible and these were all 3s or these were all 2s and we'd given it real information, the verdict would be do not pursue it. Right, it's a bad idea. It's too saturated. It's not defensible enough. it would give us the recommendations to go back. We need to look at the margin. We need to look at the landed cost. We need to make it smaller so we can ship it faster. All that kind of stuff. It gives us a full strategic analysis, right, on each of those levels. It gives us red flag identification. So no major red flags. Again, kind of wrote things knowing what it wanted to kind of push this through. But it would flag anything that was a potential, whether that, as I said, was the AIV, the landed cost, the sale price, all that kind of stuff. Strategic entry recommendation. So it gives us a recommend, like, how do we need to do this? We need to build brand first, essentially, right? So that's what I talked about, having that story. I had a black cat and it always got lost and it went to the vet and da-da-da-da-da. That's how I build authority. Or maybe I'm a vet. Maybe I'm a cat trainer, right? That's the expertise. I'd build that authority first through my content. I'd launch with educational comparison content, us versus them, why ours is better, my story, how our bundles work, how you can customize. So I'd go much more of an educational type launch program. So again, because this is understood the type of business I'm building, where I come from, the type of audience I'm speaking to, it's given me a market entry recommendation that's actually accurate to my product. So in summary, the niche passes the viability test with a strong margin, logistics and content engine. Main commercial risk is defensibility, right? And that's because we said the defensibility was around basically our bundles and having a strong brand positioning. So that's why it's given us the direction to invest early in authority, in education, in building brand, building up a branded community. So we need to kind of put that fencing around our brand to keep competitors out and build up people that want to shop with us because they like us as the founder. They're on mission with us. They like what we're trying to do, why we're doing what we're doing, all that kind of stuff. Right, so then we can export this. We can turn this into a downloadable artifact. But hopefully this whole process is giving you an idea of how much more thorough running through an AI that is built for e-commerce is versus going through something generic like chat, which will give you things that sound like a great idea, but they're not really validating the specifics that an e-commerce founder really needs to know about. Right, if you're going to start an e-commerce business, you're going to launch a Shopify store, you need to understand e-commerce at least at the foundational level of who am I selling to, what am I selling, what do they want, what price can I get it for, how am I manufacturing it, how do I need to ship it, is all that, because all of that is the product viability, right? It's not just do people want to buy cat collars, it's can I do, that is the first part, right? Do people want to buy cat collars? But then is there a market for it? Is there a defensible position in the market for it? Can I sell it at a price that I can make money from it? Because if I can't make money from it, it's a charity or it's a hobby, right? When we're going into this as a business. So these are the things you need to validate. And that's why we have built this AI platform called the Command Center. And all of this is to say, if this was interesting and you'd like to understand even more of the things that we can do inside of this, inside of our Command Center, you see we have 170 plus of those types of GPTs. That was one prompt, right? That was one prompt in our product list. You can see all the different product GPTs we have here. You can see all of the prospects. So this is how to identify your niche, how to understand your market, problems, pain points, understanding your customers, understanding your profit margins, cash flow forecasting, cost of goods, reducing those so you can sell for higher margins, liquidating dead stock, right? There's 170 of these things custom built for AI, for e-commerce, that go through that same rigor, right? Because they're based on the brains of people that understand e-commerce. They're based on Paul Warren's brain. So if you'd like to understand more about how this works, how it can help you grow your business, we're running a call, our free workshop every second Wednesday. We're running an AI for e-commerce workshop. It's totally free. So this has been interesting. You want to get away from prompting generic AI and getting generic responses that make everything sound like it's the best thing since sliced bread, but maybe it's giving you bad direction because it's not going to this level of rigor. Comment below, AI, shoot me a DM. I'll get you the link. Jump on this week. We'll have a replay up if you can't come as well. But jump on. We'll show you through some other aspects of this AI. We'll give you some ideas of how this works, why it's better than your generic AIs, and how this can really help solve all of the problems right? This can help you debottleneck your business, can help you actually execute the stuff that's stopping you from moving forward, because it is thorough, it's rigorous, it's got the right brains behind it. It's not just basing its answers on generic internet information. It's based on real thinking, real e-commerce operator brain. So if that sounds interesting, drop AI in the comments, shoot me a DM, we'll get you on. Totally free workshop. Love to see you there. Catch you tonight, 5 p.m. on Zoom. We'll see you there.